Yo, what's up epic gamers, my name is Fox and welcome to another video guide of mine. In this video, we're gonna go over the mechanics of Eden's War's Iconoclasm, also referred to as E7S. Now, two things before we start is, number one, make sure to put down markers everywhere possible, in corners, on cardinals, intercardinals, whatever you want. And the most important thing is to have quick march groups, right? We call them quick march group because of the quick march trio in UCOP, for example. So basically, two groups each having one tank, one healer, one melee DPS, and one range DPS, right? This is very important for several mechanics, so make sure to have those assigned. Another thing before we start is that the strats that are used in this video are day one strats, right? We came up with them on the fly, so they might not be optimal, they might not be the best. So as you're watching this video, depending on the time, there might be better strats out there, but this video should still give you information on what to do in this raid and how to execute the mechanics properly in order to kill this boss. Another thing to notice is that the arena is basically in squares kinda, or in lines, whatever you want to call it. This will also play a big role for a lot of mechanics in the fight, so that's just something I want to mention on the side before we really get into it. Once you start pulling, you will be greeted with an AoE damage on the group, which is called Empty Wave. This will also repeat several times in the fight, so remember the name, please. This is followed up with a tank buster called Unshadowed Stake. This tank buster will hit twice and put a vuln on the tank, so make sure to either use an invulnerability, aka Hallowed Ground for example, or have the other tank go in front of the tank that took the first buster and have them basically intercept the second hit in a way to make sure they don't die. Now it becomes fun. The first real mechanic in this fight is called Words of Motion. Basically, you will have 4 clouds of Senators appear, 2 by 2. They will then dash from the front to the back, so make sure first of all to avoid the clouds that will dash first and basically go into the safe spot after they dashed. Now it becomes really fun. When those clouds hit the back of the arena, you will see a blue and a red portal, and it is really important to remember which portal is getting hit first, because this will be very important for the upcoming mechanic. Now I suggest you to all go to the northeast corner, because 2 tiles will be basically your safe spot for the upcoming mechanic. You will have the portals that just disappeared from the back reappear all around the arena. It looks very scary, but literally all you have to look for are the 2 portals on the right side and on the left side. The 2 portals on the right side will fire depending on the order that the first clouds basically went into it. So if in the first part of this mechanic the blue portal got hit first, the blue portal will shoot again first. So you will just have to stand in front of the red portal and move then into the other tile. Now the second part of this mechanic requires you to also look on the left side which portal is getting hit. For example, if blue shoots into blue, that means that blue will again shoot first. So for the next step, you will again be first in front of the red and then move into the blue. At some point though, it will also shoot into the red first. So blue will shoot into red, which will then mean that red will shoot first, which means you have to stand in front of blue. Right, this sounds very difficult, but it actually isn't, because all you have to look at is again, right side, which is the portal that shoot first. By the way, it is nearly always fixed for the first time they shoot, so you can pre-position already. And on the left side, you will see what they are shooting into. Again, look where it's coming from and what it is shooting into, and depending on that, move into the safe spot and stay, or move into the other safe spot. The next cast you'll see will be Betwixt Worlds. 2 immovable terrains will show up on the map which cannot be crossed. Also make sure to be in the middle of the map here, because you will get knocked sideways. If you are standing on the outer edges, you will get knocked off. Now let's get to the fun part of this mechanic. Basically, after the Betwixt Worlds cast, you'll have a Vey with the cast. Everyone will get a purple line with an indicator at the end to where they will be teleported to. Think of this as the forced march mechanic, just as a forced teleport basically. On top of that, all 4 DPS will be tethered towards one of the Senator clouds at the north of the arena. Now it's important to not overlap these Senator clouds because you will die, right? First off, we'll start with the DPS and how to handle this. The outer clouds will basically have to be baited on the very front corners to make sure that they angle themselves in a certain way so you don't get hit or you don't hit anyone else with your cloud. The inner clouds will also be baited on the outside, but you don't need to be on the edge. So look exactly how we place them in the video and just do this and you'll be absolutely fine. The second part of this mechanic, which is called Silver Sledge, puts a stack marker on both healers. So basically assign your healer to your quick march tank as before, have them stack one of them at the very front of the arena in the middle and one of them at the end of the hitbox of the boss in the middle of the arena to resolve these stacks. Again, just check out the video to see how this is being resolved. Now we'll have some downtime with Empty Wave again and the Tank Buster, but nothing otherwise. This is followed though by another very interesting mechanic. Again, Words of Motion, that means two clouds of Zeniths will start the dashes from the front of the arena. But we'll also have another cast which is called False Moonlight, which are baited AoEs. First off, all stack up in the middle of the arena and then follow this up by moving to your side, your assigned side with the quick march, people of course. Put them on the second inner tile next to the line so you are able to basically dodge the dive to the outside, but you also leave room in the middle. Again, you can check out the video on how to place this puddle properly. After you place all of your AoEs, you will have again the Away with Thee cast. This is again the force teleport. Now this time around it is different. There will be an AoE marker on all healers and tanks and a stack marker on one random DPS. So this time we'll have all DPS teleport back to the middle to resolve the stack afterwards there, all tanks to the front of the hitbox, and all healers to the back of the arena basically. This mechanic will then end the first phase of this fight and we'll move on to the ad phase. The ad phase will spawn 3 ads in total, 2 of them called Idolatry and one of them is the Blasphemy. Have your 2 quick march groups assigned to one of both of the Idolatries and have them DPS down slowly. Healers in range can also apply dots on the Blasphemy in meantime. The idea is to kill both Idolatry first and then the Blasphemy after, as it has way less HP but it starts casting hard-hitting AoEs. If you kill the Blasphemy first or one of the other ads first, the other one will be enraging pretty fast. During this ad phase, the Blasphemy will start rotating clockwise or counterclockwise. Make sure your tanks do move their ads appropriately. On top of that, we'll also have stack markers on the melees of every group, so make sure to stack and dodge the AoEs that are pumping out of the Blasphemy. The next cast you'll see will be called Strength in Numbers. Both ads will cast a dynamo here, which is a in mechanic. Make sure to stand inside of the hitbox of the ads. Then you will have another forced teleport mechanic with a stack marker. The way we handled this is basically we sent the groups to the opposite ad to make sure to stack right next to the ad, everyone together of the groups. So the group of the first ad teleports to the second ad and vice versa basically. After this we went back to our ads and started DPSing them down. Then again, the ad will do another Strength in Numbers cast, but this time one of the ads will make a chariot, which is the out mechanic. So one ad will have a dynamo, one will have a chariot, and you have to look at the animations to determine which does which. Basically, a vertical flip will indicate a dynamo mechanic and a horizontal spinning will indicate the chariot. So go to the ad that does a vertical flip in order to be in the safe spot. Kill both ads and then kill the Blasphemy. We are now heading into the third phase of the fight. The first cast will be called Unjoined Aspect and will give people a purple or white debuff. This is very important for the upcoming mechanics, so make sure to look at which debuff you have. Basically, every color-based mechanic that will follow this is required to have the opposite color of your debuff. So for the next mechanic happening, if you have a purple debuff, you go into the white clouds that will be coming from the front. On top of that, we'll also have a line stack marker on one of each of the groups, so make sure to soak this up as 4 people, but also stand in max melee range on the edge of the arena, because otherwise that stack marker will just turn into damage, basically. Another important thing to note is that every time you get hit by a mechanic which is color related, your color or your debuff will change to the opposite. The next mechanic, I call it Fists and Towers because it reminds me of the E7S fists, basically. Every corner will have a tower spawn there and has to be soaked by a person of the opposite color. So we had the DPS do this, so the melee DPS take the front towers with their opposite color and the ranged DPS take the back towers. The more complicated part are probably the fists or clouds or whatever you want to call them. They have to be basically baited by the person closest to them, so it's proximity based. If you are, for example, a tank that has a white debuff, you need to look for the purple cloud and get close to it, so you get targeted by it basically. Then after you got targeted, move a bit to the left in order to not hit the person that's on the cardinal opposite to you. So again, go into the range of the cloud of the opposite color of yours and then move to the left, basically into the middle of that tile because it will cover the whole tile. Also make sure not to hit the people in the tower. Basically we had the tanks take the north and the east cloud and the healers take the south and the west cloud. This is then followed up with a repeat of the mechanic we did at the start of the third phase. After this, we'll have again everyone getting debuffs, so make sure to pay attention to them. Get first hit by the correct dive color and then move to your assigned corner. Always pair one DPS with a healer or a tank. We had the melee DPS and tanks to the northeast, northwest corners and the healers and the ranged on the southeast and the southwest corners. When the dives are happening, you gotta pay attention to which color goes into the blue portal, as this will be very important, or you can pay attention to the red one, that's up to you. If, for example, white goes into blue, blue will keep shooting white and you have to stand with the purple debuff in it. Opposite of course for the red. Make sure to check into what color blue is shooting, as it can change to red, which would mean then that red would be changing into white. Bait puddles in the middle of the 4 tiles and spread out because everyone is gonna get a small AoE marker. This AoE marker will change your current color, so pay close attention to your color before this happens. This seems again very complicated at first, but it's actually pretty simple. Again, just check which color goes into blue and keep focusing on one color only, because you know you will either have to stand in it or be in the opposite one. Check which color is shooting from right to left, just like in the first time you see this mechanic, and move accordingly. After this mechanic resolves, we'll then have another tank buster and we'll go into the 4th and last phase of the fight. Welcome to the last phase of the fight. I don't think this is very hard, this phase, it just requires you paying attention to colors and movement. But apart from that, it's actually pretty simple. So it's about to clear this turn. First off, a big knockback in the center will happen. Tanks should get knocked southeast or southwest and then gather on south. DPS and healers to the northeast or northwest corner. Then everyone again gets a color debuff. This is very important. Make sure that all the people with the white debuffs are moving into the northwest corner and the purple debuffs are moving into the northeast corner. This plays a very big role, so pay attention to it. The middle storm will start casting small puddles that will continuously turn around it. If you get hit by them, you will change your color and get the damage down. So you can abuse this if you made a mistake, if you pay closely attention. I'd suggest not to do it, but it is a possibility. Make sure to continue moving and pop the balls that spawn with someone of the opposite color. Make also sure not to be too close to the explosion, as it will change your color. We did it in the following order: ranged, healer, and then melee. That doesn't matter, you can do it in any order you want. In the video you see how I get hit by the ball, which changed my color, and then I had to sack in order to not let the last ball explode. I died, but we cleared in the end. The last mechanic of the fight will then basically be AoEs surrounding the boss, where you have to stand again in the opposite color of your debuff. This will repeat 3 times in a row, and then you have again another repeat of the other mechanic. And that's already all it. That's all there is to phase 4. You're now basically done with the fight. So at the end of the fight, just make sure to heal through all the AoEs that are going out, and then you're done with the fight. That's it. So you can now say in Party Finder you watched a clear video and you're close to clear. Well, not really, but you get my point. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will also try to make a written guide. It might not be up at the time you're watching this, but I'll try to do my best and make some diagrams to make all these things easier, because I do believe diagrams will really help with the explanation of the mechanics. So I'm gonna try to make a written guide. I hope this guide helped you guys, and I hope you're on your way to clear this Savage tier. I hope and I wish the best for you, and yeah, that's about it. Alright, you guys have a good one. Cheers.